80. This is Lego, and I've got with me Hove and Mana, and no special guests this week. It's just us digesting all of the info that has come and like changes that have come with 1.1.4
and all the pizza I ate earlier.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had a lot of we've had a lot of people playing 1.1.4, including Mana and Hove and myself. Like a lot of Destiny. I saw Mana streaming a lot.
Trials was fun again.
It's been fun. Yeah, everything actually been fun. I think maybe it's a little bit of just like I've took such a long break and coming back to it, not only as it's getting a little better, and then it's just like everything's kind of fresh again.
Mm-hmm.
And people have been talking me into slowly. I haven't really done anything yet, but they've been talking me back into even jumping into PvE to grind out some weapons and gear too. But like I said, I've yet to actually do PvE. Except for today doesn't count because I was actually eating while I joined TV while he was doing PvE. So that didn't count.
I actually did some PvE too. It was weird. Like I really enjoyed Rumble while that was around, but also PvE stuff. I jumped into the Nightfall Strike and actually did like all the strike scoring stuff, all the prestige challenges. I did it a lot with Wilson on the very last night because we were trying to get that strike sniper, the unique reward from it, you know, and literally everyone who played with Wilson got it. Like he kept rotating out people all throughout the week. Everyone.
Like everyone in the whole galaxy.
Everyone who played with Wilson got it.
Okay.
Yeah. It was so sad though. I was like, oh my gosh, like why? And so it got to the point to where at like right before, like at midnight on Monday, right before reset, like I got it to drop with me in my run, and it was to the point where he had played it so long and I had just jumped in that I didn't want to tell him. I was like, yeah, that was a good run, guys. Like, and I waited, and I was like, I can't hold it back. I gotta tell him. I was like, sorry, man, I got it to drop for me, but I'll keep running with you, you know. And we ran it a few more times, and he still didn't get it. It was so frustrating, but I do really like that sniper. Had a lot of fun with Rumble. Have a few words to say about Mayhem. Hove, what about you, dude? What have you been enjoying this week in D2?
I mean, I didn't really like since Tuesday when, you know, weekly reset happened. I haven't really had a chance to play. I played that few games of Mayhem with you. Usually the weekends are more the time I get to play stuff. So, you know, I got into Trials some last weekend, which was definitely fun. I definitely enjoyed it more than previous Trials in D2. You know, we've kind of all put our thoughts on the competitive side of the playlist now, and we all liked it. And it went the same for Trials. We didn't go flawless, did we? No, we played kind of bad, but were you there? I don't remember who I played with.
I wasn't there. Who are you talking to?
I don't know. Somebody's three people. I don't know who they are. But the little bit I played Mayhem, you know, it's funny because one of the things we liked Mayhem because of increased supers and increased grenades and all that stuff. And we asked for that in the base game. And as we'll get to, you know, they did confirm it's 25% more supers on top of last Mayhem. And I think it might actually be a little bit too much. There was like no reason to ever use a gun. I realized that Mayhem, you didn't use a gun much, but I think it was a little too much.
I forget when I jumped into it, but I was like, you know what? I'll try out some new weapons since it's Mayhem. I'm not going to take it seriously. I wasn't able to try out any new weapon.
No. And I get that that's not like the point of it, but it was a little too much, it felt like.
It was a lot of abilities, a lot of everything but guns, which I don't know why I sound like surprised. Honestly.
Well, because I mean, you didn't really play Mayhem last time, right, Mana?
No, I missed out on Mayhem.
It wasn't like this was another 25% increase on top of Mayhem last time. Last time it was good. It was crazy. You could use a super all the time, but it wasn't like literally all the time. You know, it was very often, but it just seemed like a tad too much this time.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and I want to put out the counter to that too, because I feel the same way Hove does, like that. like, especially me, because I like played Mayhem so much last time. It was like the game mode that I got movie of the week off of. It was like the thing that I enjoyed so much, having like all those hero moments, was actually able to use guns to take out a lot of people and then turn around and have power ammo and then use my super, you know, and this is before all the changes that came to Destiny. It was just perfect in the way that it was to me. But counter argument to that, I saw Imtash post earlier. He was like, I'm loving Mayhem because I can find that I can just relax and not have to worry about, like, I can just focus on chat and not worry about winning so much. It's just kind of real chill. Like, I'm not focused on anything. And for me, like, I get that, but it's also, I feel like if you play Mayhem the way it is right now, your super matters more than anything else, and none of the classes feel as balanced. And not that Mayhem is supposed to feel balanced, but I feel like as an Arc Strider, I can't even.
Yeah,
like,
you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead because a Golden Gun is going to beat you. A Nova Bomb's going to beat you. Hammers are so freaking strong, especially if you use the explosion hammers, because they're the one thing that can kill anything. And so it's like, well,
I didn't realize how strong that was. I was using the opposite tree when I was trying out hammers. I'm just like, man, these aren't that good at all. And then whoever I was playing was like, dude, or chat even, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? Change the tree. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm just like, wow, just like you hit someone that exploded and stuff. I'm just like, what have I been missing out on? Like,
yes, and even if somebody's nearby that person, like another guy will be randomly jumping by and the explosion will kill him afterwards.
It's actually insane. Today, so I actually jumped in with TV and Femi, and one of I think Femi's friends. And well, when I tuned in, because I was playing some Fortnite beforehand, so I jumped into TV stream to see if they were still waiting for me. Like, okay, they were. And I noticed his title was like 4 Titan bubbles or something like that, like Sentinel times. I'm like, I guess they want me to jump on a Sentinel. I literally haven't used Sentinel. I wasn't impressed with Sentinel when it first came out, so I just literally stopped playing as a Sentinel, like, ever. And I jumped back into it. I wasn't good, but the plays I did get were very satisfying.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't really say the map, but I turned on this team of 2, threw my shield, and it hit both of them at the same time and got like the double. I was just like, hey!
That's awesome. I do feel like the Sentinel shield throwing is really good. I had one team in Mayhem that tried doing the bubble train, like just continually. Really? Just like doing it over and over again, and I like that didn't work out for them very well. Like, no matter what other super you had, you could go in there and pretty much demolish them if they weren't, you know. And so that, but a guy who was up in the air just continually throwing his shield, there's like, what can you do about that unless you're a Golden Gun, you know, person or something like that? So that I could see how that would be really advantageous in Mayhem for sure.
It was like it bounces around how many times before like. It doesn't one bang when it bounces off a wall, right?
No,
but I don't think so. If it hits you directly, yeah, without bouncing, it does. But it does bounce around a couple times, so it can potentially just, if there's a team chilling around the corner, that can be really trolly on Mayhem.
Dude, could you imagine 4 Sentinels running out, all throwing shields into a room at the same time, and then just...
Oh my gosh.
Let's do it.
Dude, I was losing my mind because a team of like, I think it was 3 tethers and 1 Nova Bomb was running amok. And every time I'd pop a super, they would all just like shoot tethers. And then the Nova Bomb would come and murder me. I was just like, this is stupid.
I think, you know, that might be what I need to try to do, though, because I like having a little bit of gunplay and there's none. And so, like, I could force gunplay in Mayhem by running Sentinel and throwing suppression grenades, or running Night Stalker and just shooting tethers everywhere. You know, that's probably what I need to try doing to enjoy it a little more for myself.
You should probably just get good.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
You're not going to talk about your epic rumble and all that stuff?
I do want to talk about that too, because before we had Mayhem, we had Rumble, and I played it so much. It was so much fun for me with the 8-man team. I know that we have stuff to talk about in the TWA, but it was not popular having 8-man in Rumble, but I freaking loved it. It was so fast. It was so rewarding to get multiple kills in a row whenever people are coming up behind you, beside you, and you still survive through all of it, and you're like, what? How am I living right now? That was just like the best moments for me. And there's a couple of other things that came out of Rumble being around which is why I really hope they make it a permanent playlist in any form, like 8-player, 6-player, whatever they end up permanently doing. I just hope that there's a permanent playlist, because having that around, I saw more people on the weekend that were just playing Rumble, and then you could easily get a team together for trials. Like, whereas before, if you like, people would be playing other games, or they would only log on to Destiny to do a specific thing. There was no one just playing solo that you could just grab unless they were doing PvE content. And then in that case, maybe they weren't really a PvP player anyway. And Rumble provides that like solo experience that lets you easily group up with other people if you want to. It's like a waiting room to do other things with your friends, and a warm-up room to like get ready to go into the Crucible in other ways. And so like I'm really gonna miss having it gone, and even just talking about it, I'm like, oh, I want to go back into it, like, you know, after this, but I can't because Mayhem's here and it's a rotating playlist. So that's kind of how I felt overall about Rumble. Did y'all's feelings change on 8-man Rumble? I know, Hove, I think you are glad to see some of the changes that are coming in the TWAB in a little bit. What did you guys feel about Rumble?
I mean, I liked it. I would have rather have seen them just maybe, because they said they were going to adjust spawns and lower it to 6. I maybe would have just liked to have seen them adjust spawns first and see how that goes. But maybe that just wasn't enough of a fix. I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see how 6 works. I think I like the idea of 8. I hope it's not too slow with 6. But personally, I would have liked to have tried it with 8 and just adjusted spawns or spawn timers or whatever without just cutting down the number of people. But we'll see. Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe, you know, with them changing it to 6, maybe they'll do things. Because I think spawning in the way it was set up for spawning with 8, like they need to adjust that to move to 6, because there were areas of the map that became hotspots that were on the other side of the map from where you spawn in sometimes. And you would start losing momentum just because you couldn't get to players fast enough, is what I found whenever like 2 people, like, it got kicked from a match for whatever reason and there were just 6 people in it. So
I don't really have an honest input because I literally only played it that one time and I never gave it another try. It scarred me that badly.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'll jump into quick play. I tried like competitive. I tried trials, and I just kind of forgot about Rumble, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just the whole, like, I don't know, just everyone's so close. Like, I was away from Destiny for so long, so I was still trying to get into the rhythm of it, you know? And the Rumble was just, you know, the spawns, just weenus to weenus spawns, you know? You just had no wiggle room to breathe, you know?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It was like a cacophony of just like stuff everywhere, and you couldn't like figure out where to go. So I definitely understand what you're saying, and I know what you mean about trials too. How like that pulled you away, because once trials hit on Friday, it doesn't go away until Monday, which is the same time Rumble went away. And trials was so much fun. I'm right there with you on, like, I get why you were playing it that much, because I normally nowadays, or even towards the end of D1, I would just go flawless like once, and then kind of, you know, as someone who doesn't stream, I would just go flawless once and then maybe play with some other people if it came around or whatever.
Doesn't stream though?
Well, I did this week just for fun, just because Rumble was so
That's
much fun.
That's all streaming is supposed to be for, Lego, is fun.
It's true.
That's true. That's true. You're right. I apologize. But it was fun.
I give new streamers: don't do it to try to attempt to make a job. Do it for fun, and it might turn into something. You know,
if you squeal enough.
Which I did, because I kept getting in those situations where there were people everywhere, and somehow I was surviving. I just couldn't get over it.
Well, I mean, I do think, you know, like you said, man, like, that's a valid point. Like, you had so many different things you wanted to try out, and I know you do play a lot of other games, but I think you probably should have given it another shot, because like the first time I went in, I kind of had that feeling. It's 8, like, it's crazy, it's ridiculous. Like, I didn't know what to do. I went in there like I was gonna be a bully and like jump on everyone and kill everyone, and all of a sudden everybody was just beating my ass. I felt like, Yamcha, yeah. And everyone just kept picking on me, and so I had to like, get used to it, and then I was better.
Yamcha.
Yamcha? I felt like Yamcha. Ding.
I knew what you were actually building up to before you even said it.
I figured it as well. With trials, I still want to stick on that for a second because that's such a big thing that the community wanted to be better, and it's something that streamers, wanted to be better because if they enjoyed that or Bungie wanted it to be better, really, to have more people playing Destiny and to involve people in doing like trials runs and stuff like that. And I really feel like I had so much fun doing it that I played multiple subclasses. A lot of times I would just like go in with my Titan, and if I did well with my Titan, I might just stay on it. But this time I was like, man, Arcstrider is so much fun right now. I kind of want to go into Trials of Arcstrider. And I did that too. And we had so much fun doing that run as well. I just actually, what happened is somebody asked me to help them with it. It was Anger from Reso, just like needed some help getting a last second run in. And I was like, yeah, sure. I haven't done this yet. I'll just see I don't know, like how good it'll go, or I'm just playing on my Arcstrider or whatever. And we ended up going flawless, like instantly, like we had 3 people, 3 different, and I don't get why people do this. 3 teams backed out on us. Like just like after one match, we would beat them and then they would back out. They'd be like, nope, sorry, not going to try again. And that happened 3 different times on that flawless run. It was crazy. But the games that I actually were able to play, it was really fun. The dynamics of not having radar, it's not campy at all. Like, like we said about competitive, it gets people moving, and it makes for whenever you're in a 1v4 or 1v3, people don't know where you're at. So everybody kind of like doesn't, if they're a smart team, they'll stay a little together, but a lot of teams would just scatter and be like, where is he? And they'd all split up, and you can take them on one by one. And that felt amazing to do that. So I really like Trials a lot.
So refresh my memory, because I'm dumb. What was the map and game mode?
The map and game, the survival on what's the old outside inside?
On what?
Burning Shrine.
Burning Shrine. Yeah, right. I can't remember. I just think of Burning Shrine every time.
I got you. I completely forgot.
Really well.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
in survival. Like I was surprised with both the game mode and the map. I was thinking, since everyone's going to know the map, since D1 might be actually really hard, and since it's survival, it might be really campy. It actually wasn't either. It played really smoothly. And I played quite a bit on Friday, and I played quite a bit on Sunday with Hovey TV, and it was just a blast. Honestly,
I think it's almost, at least from the experience I had, like if you did not even trying to camp, but if you just sat still, it may get you something, it may be good in the short run. Maybe you camp around a corner and you get someone running by, but it felt like long term, even just sitting still in one room or one area for too long puts you at a disadvantage. I felt like you're like, oh, you're looking this way and you're fighting this person and you're not moving. All of a sudden, here comes the rest of the team from the other side. Like I know a lot of people disagree, and I just felt like it promoted moving so that you didn't sit in one spot and couldn't get flanked and have people come up behind you. Like I felt better moving around so that you knew you were driving the engagements. If you're moving forward all the time, you're selecting the engagements, you're making them happen, as opposed to sitting still and having someone come from any angle.
Yeah, I just felt like we were always pushing the next spawn point for the next team, so they could not get a rhythm going, take it away from you. You find a team, you see maybe a teammate or something go over there, you just, let's go the opposite direction, loop around. It's just I feel like a lot of people just couldn't handle the situational awareness,
And it's funny that you say that, because, from the little bit of scrims that we had done, like Lego, when he made us get on B and all that. One of the things that you learn quickly.
Did you see? I had another get on B moment. I can't believe it. I can't, guys.
And
I can't. Windler,
Chavez found the clip.
I know you didn't know. Yes. It's so Windler, I know that you were just calling out what you saw, but it is so funny that it happened again. And because it was a 1v4. I killed the first guy, and when he's like, there's one here and there's one here, and I killed the second guy, and he's like, okay, there's a 1-on-1 on the bridge, 1-on-1, and I jump up there and there's two guys
standing right next to each other.
Yep.
Just right next to each other.
I saw that clip and I was laughing, dude. I was talking to Gungam, just like, yo, Wendler just had another moment. I said it to her.
But it really was good. The call-outs are so helpful. And even though, like...
Let me, while I was on that kick real quick. Because what that made me think of is what's one of the very first things, even if we would start to get a little momentum in some of those scrims, Lego, what's the biggest thing that we needed to like learn that we were getting killed on? Do you remember?
Was it moving?
Like,
I don't know.
Pushing the next spawn. Like, even in D1, like, even if you get a team wipe, that isn't the, okay, we got a team wipe, like let's go, it's cool. You immediately got to go to where the next spawn's going to be. And it's funny that now we're in the competitive playlist, and Mana brought up, like, that's what you had to do. Like, push, move the engagements, find the next spawn, get to them. Where that was, like, the big thing that we needed help with because we didn't do it, We'd get even if we did get a team kill, we'd chill. Like, celebrate.
Thing that one of our problems we found out is I think we were overly aggressive at pushing the spawns, and we would never capture power spawn. And that's how I think we only lost once on Friday, and it was to Apollo and his squad. We started off really hot, and then Apollo and their guys found out, oh, we suck at getting power ammo, and they definitely took advantage of that. And they would have, they had shotgun, you know how it goes. And it was a bad time. We were keeping up. It was a really intense match, though. I think we only lost by 1, but we definitely could have done better by actually paying attention to power.
We kind of noticed the same thing. Like, it wasn't a conscious decision to go away from it, but at the beginning, for the first few games, like, our very first thing was, like, no matter where you spawn, push that center, own the middle room where power ammo was. And if you can get that and get that power ammo and kind of use that to your advantage. And I think it worked, like, too well, because we won the first, like, 3 or 4 games, like, pretty easily. Even if we, like, lost a round or two here, we'd be like, okay, let's get back to that power, take the power, take control of that. And we, like, won them too easy that I think, like, the next couple games, we kind of got away from that because we were like, oh, we're winning these games. And as soon as we stopped controlling that power right off the bat, the other team would do it. And then that's when we started to fall behind. You know what I mean? It's like we were doing it so well that in our mind, it was just like, oh, we're playing so good. And kind of quit with the call-outs, quit with that push, and we fell apart at that point.
Almost unknowingly, like, getting a little arrogant, and then
yeah, exactly.
Having it bite you.
Not realizing that the reason we were playing so good is because we were taking that team approach to getting the power and controlling that room.
Yeah, with the power ammo, I noticed my team, we would start to do like countdowns because you know how you can see it counting down once it gets to like 10 or 5. And so we would be like, okay, it's at 5, 4, like we need someone eyes on it, even if we're not grabbing it, make sure that they're not kind of game. And so that was really cool. And also with the call outs, I really like that we have the universal top left, what area of the map you're in, west side or east side. And I don't know if you guys use those call outs, but I had one team that I played with that didn't, but most teams that I played with, they were like, I was like, y'all use east-west callouts? They were like, yeah. And so, and that's what it says on the top of your map. So it's never confusing. You're never like, wait, is this A or B or, whatever, the flags aren't here. It always says east or west at the top of your map. And we knew, okay, are they at altar? Are they outside? East, west, where are they at? And it was easy to call people out. And those were the teams that I had the most success on, where people were calling out, okay, this is where their locations are. It was almost like PUBG in a way was like training me for this, like at a much faster pace. But in PUBG, you don't know where anyone is, and you're doing those location call outs, and you want to keep moving, because if you keep moving, there's no radar. People don't know where you're at. And in D2, it's even more so because you can't hear footsteps and stuff. So it's basically all visual and call outs. And so it was super, super important, and callouts really is what brought us to victory. I think like both teams that I played with, callouts were just so important. And it is cool having that heavy in the center that changes things. Man, there's just so much about the new trials that I really, really like and I'm looking forward to. Even like I had like one of the groups of people that I play with, like sending texts out like, hey, are y'all available this night? Like, are we going to do it again? Like, cause they're just pumped to play, And I feel the same way. Like it really was exciting. Even if there's no loot specifically that I want, it was just an exciting game type.
I remember why I couldn't, hold on. I remember why I couldn't remember who our fourth was. It was Wendler, and I think I tried to
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew it.
I think it was me, Wilson, Dewey, and Wendler.
Oh my gosh.
Nice. Stream sniped us early today. Got that little booty spank.
We tried to. I remember I came in your chat and I said I was going to stream snipe you, and then
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Actually, like the team he was on was actually they started off hot too. I thought it was Wendler and a stack team at first. We're like balls, and then we ended up coming back. And I think someone screenshotted it because Wendler was at the bottom of the list.
Yes.
I have a few screenshots from my Rumble night too. One was Hope.
Yeah,
one
come on.
was Winland.
Why don't you tell them your side of the story, and then I'll fill in the actual facts.
No, I know. He asked to play again, and then what is your side of the story? I'm confused.
My side of the story here is Lego was playing this long Rumble streak, and I have this many wins out of this many games, and I'm the Rumble King, and who's M-Tashed, and all this stuff.
I
I made that part up. He didn't actually challenge M-Tashed. But so he's streaming, and he's talking about all these games he's winning. I quit playing for the night, so I'm laying on my couch half asleep, and I open up Twitch, and there's Lego still playing at whatever time of the night it was. So I was like, Lego, you can be on for a little bit? I'll jump on and like try to do the old, queue up at the same time and get the game. He's like, oh yeah, I got at least a couple more in me. Yeah, come on. So I get on, I play one game, and I used some random weapons, and he's using Vigilance Wing and a Burst Sidearm. And he beats me, and he screenshots it, and I'm like, all right, let's queue up again. He's like, oh no, I gotta go to bed. I wasn't gonna play anymore. I'm done. And I was like, really? You let me come on for one game? That's exactly what happened.
No, we queued in again with Windler, and we were trying to go in 3 of us, and it didn't work 3 different times.
One time.
And then we did it one more time, and Windler got in, and you didn't. So I was like, well, I'll just play this
You
one.
were scared.
We'll do it again, Hove. Rumble's coming back.
Private matches, we're going to have REZOcast challenges. I'm going to spank you, and I'm going to spank Triton, and I'm going to mysteriously get sick when it's my turn to play Mana.
Okay, I didn't know.
I saw Mana's face was like, really? Really?
When you said mysteriously, I'm just like, okay.
See?
Chat, I thought he was going to say that Mana's going to mysteriously get DDoS when I play him.
Mysteriously.
Well, speaking
chat,
of the weapons,
by the way, chat thinks it was excuses. Just want you to know.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I had people there. I'm really surprised. Oh, but I want to say Rumble stream sniping is so much fun. Like, that was some of the most fun I'd had. Wasn't just playing by myself, but having Pete, like Bagu was in there. Straight bot. I faced bot at one point. So it was really fun just playing against people that you knew. And so that makes me really excited for private matches. But I wanted to ask y'all, what are the new weapons that y'all have kind of fell in love with since the patch changes? Is there anything that you're like, oh, I love this gun in Trials or Rumble or anything like that?
Last word.
Is last word what I'm trying to think of what that would be, but I don't think there's an equivalent.
No, just the last word.
Okay. Mana.
Interesting.
Hope's not going to give me a real answer.
No, I will.
I don't understand why I love the Perseverance so much now than before. I just randomly started using it, and it feels so extremely good. I don't even know if anything actually beneficial happened to it, but it's just the auto rifle that's like it's a weird cross between an AR and an SMG like type. It's like right there in the middle. It's strange.
Oh,
but other than that, I've actually been liking a Cold Sweat hand cannon. It's that weird kind of like faster shooting, like. If you don't hit your like headshots, critical hits, you're not really going to do much. But it's like there's something weird about it that I've been really liking. Like I've only been using it today. I've been using it a lot. And of course,
where do you get that one from?
A Cold Sweat. I'm pretty sure that's the Trials of the 9.
Oh,
hand cannon.
Okay, cool.
It's the latest one, I think.
Gotcha.
There's something about it that feels good. And then I tried Scathe again. I didn't like Scathe back then.
Yeah.
But there's something just about it now that's just addictive. It's like I feel like the range is decent and the accuracy is good, and I don't know, the sound effects. It's okay. If a gun sounds good, it actually makes me want to use it more. Is that weird? Like if
no, it's not weird at all.
If it feel the same way. Good, I want to get better with it for some reason. It's strange.
Yes, no, I feel exactly the same way. There's some guns that are just like a sploosh sound, it's like they're just like it just sounds like yeah, it just sounds like squishy or something. And then there's other ones that sound like concrete shooting out of the gun. And that's what I feel about Vigilance Wing right now. I mean, now it like feels good actually too, but it sounds good. And then the new Strike Sniper, like I feel like it actually sounds like a heavy hitting gun. And it also reminds me a lot of Zen Meteor from D1, like how it's got 3 shots in the mag, high impact. I wish it, made people explode when I shot them in the face, but it'll do for what it is. It is very sticky and very snappy, like just snaps right in. But it also, the sound effects really do it for me, like you were saying.
Missed out on that. I should have grinded it out, honestly.
We'll do it again. We'll do it again.
It'll eventually
get it. I bet you they make the rewards like a little bit easier to get soon, because it was, especially for Wilson, did it for like 8 hours, like 8.
I'm impressed.
Like a long time. That's crazy.
Good.
A long time.
Good. They should be hard to get.
Yeah, but don't you feel like you should see the thing in D1 with strike specific rewards is it would have, well, not the armor, I guess, but the weapons would have like random rolls on it, and you would get one every once in a while. It just might not be the one you're looking for. So it feels like you're progressing towards something. Like, whereas this is like you just don't get anything for 8 hours. Like that is really disappointing.
Do you want them to give you participation trophies? Listen,
I'm not saying that I personally was disappointed, but I got one. Yeah, I'm just saying I felt the disappointment. I'm having like, I'm being empathetic here because I felt the disappointment in Wilson's voice. Like I was like, oh gosh, man, that really sucks,
I see where he's getting from, because like back when you were like grinding out the I can't remember what it's called, the
Imago loop, that gun, because
like one of those, like you would get it at least every now and then. It might not be the role that you want. It might not be a role good at all, like viable for anything. But in this case, you just need that one. And if you're not getting for that long, then I can see the frustration, I guess.
Are you drinking Metamucil?
No, it's coffee.
Oh.
It's cold brew coffee, but
looks like Metamucil. Thought maybe you needed some fiber.
No. I will say, Hove, I almost called him Han. Hove mentioned that sidearm. I was thinking hand cannon in my head. Hove mentioned the burst sidearm. It's like Last Hope, but it's the one you get from the Osiris prophecies called Traveler's
Judgment.
Traveler's what?
Judgment.
Yeah, that's it. Traveler's Judgment 5. Dude, it's so good. I don't know. I hated Last Hope for some reason, and I love this gun. It's the same archetype. There's no reason that I should like it any more than Last Hope when it was there, but it just feels right to me. So I don't know. If you didn't care for Last Hope, but you wanted to be, a PvP scrub, you just couldn't, try this gun out. It's pretty awesome.
As far as, you were asking any guns in trials and anything, nothing really changed too much for me since we talked last week. But the new guns for me, like I said, Old Fashioned is probably my favorite gun to use right now in PvP. I really, really like it. I was using Drang a lot still. I don't know. That's really about it as far as ones that I like really wanted to use. I traded off a lot of other stuff. I think is it Nameless Midnight I don't have yet. There's one of those Vanguard weapons. Yeah, I think it's one of the good ones that I don't have yet. So yeah, I don't have that. So I suck. I also don't have an Antiope because I suck.
Oh no, you don't?
No.
Oh, that's so good still.
And look.
Wait, the Antiope? You don't have one?
Mm-mm.
Dang, I got rid of all my OG raid weapons that are now, I guess, decent.
Yeah, some of those pulses are really good.
Yeah. Someone was actually, I think it was the, I forget his name. It was Light something that was with Femi. He was talking about him. I'm just like, yeah, I think I have him. I was looking through my Destiny Eye Manager. I'm like, I don't have a single raid weapon left. Wow. Feels bad.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. I don't have Alone as a God. I don't have Midnight Coup. Those are pretty much the two.
Midnight Coup is the one I really want that I don't have, that I need to. One thing that makes me want to go raid in is the Midnight Coup.
Well, why don't we go do that?
We should.
All right, let's go. Podcast is over, tonight. Folks.
See you next week. We're going to play video games.
Since there's so much TWAB, let's jump into that real quick. Well, not quick, but let's jump into it right now, and we'll see how long we stay here. There's so much in here that I don't know how I'm gonna summarize this, but I want to talk about the, straight up, they just talked about the Bungie Bounty question and answers that they did during the stream this week. And I saw a lot on, Reddit has been super salty lately, but I saw several posts start pop. Yeah, I know. Who would have thought? Yeah, but there were actually like several posts popping up right now that are like, y'all, Bungie deserves some praise for like answering these questions, like picking hard questions and actually giving, even if some of the answers were kind of like typical Bungie fashion, they were like asking the hard questions. And I agree, man. I read through these questions. I wasn't able to watch the stream, but I was reading through these and I was like, man, they really hit like some of the hard points. So we're just gonna kind of walk through these ones that seem like probably all of them. We'll see. The first one was about time to kill, as like, will the next patch be called Kill Fast, since the last one was Go Fast update? And Josh Hamrick answered it basically talking about answering it with exotics. Like he's like not sure if he could say directly that time to kill is going to improve, but that because of the way that they're changing some of the exotics, that some of these weapons are getting damage buffs that can have direct impact on the average time to kill of an encounter, just like Vigilance Wing. And then right after that, he answered a question about Vigilance Wing that was like, hey, are we expecting like some sort of tuning or nerf to Vigilance Wing because it's so strong? And he was like, well, actually, we're trying to like meet the level of the time to kill of Vigilance Wing. So if anything, you'll see us bringing stuff up pretty much. And so
still talking exotics,
but still
talking
a step but in the right direction. We need to go that direction instead of nerfing things,
Yes. And I'm so glad that they're keeping with that mentality, is not nerfing things, but bringing things up. And it truly feels like they are listening and responding appropriately to a lot of the community feedback, which is really awesome. So I'm digging those two questions for sure. You guys have any thoughts about those two, or want to keep going?
Just on exotics in general, I know we've had this discussion before on how we feel they should approach exotics, making them exotic, whether it should just be that they're different, unique, create a play style around them, or are just specifically more powerful.
Yeah.
And while honestly, if they went all in on any of those, I think I would be okay, but they seem to kind of like hem-haw between like some are really good and just normal guns, and some are like real different, and do you know what I mean? So they never really got a specific idea with them. I am okay with if they're just specifically more powerful than legendaries, especially as far as PvP or PvE, because then like that really gives you the whole, like that makes the you can only use one exotic at a time makes sense.
Yes.
Whereas right now, and even in the end of Destiny 1 to a point, there was no reason to specifically use an exotic. You could absolutely get away with using all legendaries. Not necessarily because the exotics were bad, but it wasn't an advantage to use one. Whereas if they kind of make them all more powerful, and then to be fair, then the problem becomes making them still somewhat balanced within each, like with in regards to each other. But,
with each other.
Yeah, if you're trying to like, okay, I get to use one exotic. Man, Vigilance Wing is really good, but so is Risk Runner. Which, oh God, they're both really good. I can do this with this one or this with this one, like up close or far away. Like that becomes interesting, and I hope they kind of go down that road.
Yeah, what I really like about the whole thing is that right now, as far as with Vigilance Wing, and we'll see with others coming, and with Sturm and Drang, the ones we've seen previews of, it seems like there's a specific playstyle you have to play. Like they're really good. Like Vigilance Wing has like one of the fastest times to kill right now, if not the fastest. I can't remember the numbers exactly. And what's his name? Fallout talks about this in one of his recent videos, and he's like, they were like, are they going to fix this or whatever? And Fallout's like, well, the thing you have to understand is like, if you use Vigilance Wing, you're giving up the right to use Acreus for your, power, which is like the easiest and one of the best power weapons you could use. And you're giving up the Viced exotic, like grenade launcher, which is definitely the easiest to use. You just shoot tracker things that, whatever. And so you're giving up these different play styles, and you have to pick and choose, like you were saying, these different powerful things. And I really like that, that puzzle game. What is going to be my play style? And if you choose to use Vigilance Wing, you have like that gun is so heavy and so clunky that you're giving up a lot of close-up speed. Like if you're not running a sidearm, which is what I ended up doing, or something really fast, you're just giving up a lot to use some of these exotics, and I hope they keep down that path. That if it like keeping it just if they do make it just slightly bit powerful, more powerful, like Vigilance Wing, then they keep it to where there's this balancing act of like, well, what am I gonna do? I'm not sure how I want to customize my Guardian, but it's nice to have those choices and to feel powerful in different ways. So that's really exciting to me.
See, those are pretty much the main exotics that you see running amok in. I don't know why I keep on using that phrase, but in amok right now. But going down, like you view all these other like exotic weapons, they're not really being used at all, if for any reason. I would like to see Bungie kind of maybe focus on maybe making things more, if not powerful, maybe funner to use in certain ways. Kind of like what is it, the Fighting Lion, where like it's a completely different play style. You have to play it in a certain way to get anything out of it. Unfortunately, I deleted mine. I really want one back now. Just to give
you can buy them.
Oh, that's right. You could go and purchase exotics you can get, huh? Where do you even find that at now that I think of it?
It's in the vault. It's like there's a vault.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. But yeah, it's just like I was going through my exotics earlier. I'm just like, I don't even know if I want to like even attempt half of these. Yeah. It's just like I was looking at Cold Heart. I'm like, that was kind of fun back in the day, but it wasn't nearly as fun as like Prometheus Lens was. I'm pretty sure that's still better than it. I was actually just using Risk Runner. I haven't used this thing since maybe the start of D2, and it's actually decent. But it's like you look at some of these exotics compared to the other exotics. It's like looking at a Death Star compared to a steamboat.
Dang.
With like a little gun on it. It's just like there's really no point in really using some of these exotics, even though you get them and they look cool. And I just hope that Bungie kind of works on making it just maybe fun, maybe PvE fun.
Yeah.
If not these super OP things running around in Crucible that you want to have on you. You know what I'm saying?
I think
is that weird?
Yeah. And I think they're heading in that direction, especially with the way they talk about Graviton Lance and changes. They specifically told us the explosion changes to that and what's coming. And I'm excited for that for sure. And there was another one. They talked about Skyburner's Oath a little bit. They didn't say specifically what was happening. They just said something about in-air battles. And I was like, yeah, I'm in. I don't know what's happening.
I think my biggest question with, the points you guys just made, what gun is the Death Star and what gun is the Steamboat? What are we comparing?
I was mainly looking at the right off the bat Prometheus Lens as the Death Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I was kind of comparing it to how Cold Heart was, and you can like barely win gunfights with it when it first came out.
Okay.
Hobie loved it though, somehow. I don't know how he was rolling with it a lot. I couldn't get into it.
I'm fine with that.
Let's see. Yeah. Let's move on to some of these other questions here. We got will we see a stream for expansion 2 and season 3? And they were like, yes, we'll show you some new streams later. We'll let you know what's coming, but they haven't really said anything what we'll be seeing. And then let's see, which ones are these? I'd like to know which elements of the recent and future updates the team have enjoyed working on the most, which ones they're personally most excited for. And I like Kevin's answer for this. He talked about seasonal Crucible ranks and like it giving us a reason to play the Crucible and something to chase. And so he said, I'll be back on in the future stream to talk more about ranking systems, Valor and Glory. That's cool. I'm excited. I sometimes forget that rank is coming, like, because it's been so long since they initially talked about it. And I'm like, oh, I want a reason to like, I want something to show off in Rumble, for instance. Like I was like, oh man, I really want a Rumble emblem to show like what my win-loss ratio is or something like that. And, I forget rank is coming and that's basically what that is. So excited for that. This was the next question is the one that like really got me and really I was like, whoa, they answered some really tough stuff. The question was, I really wish D2 weapon system returns to primary special heavy. It was better than the current one. Is my wish reasonable? And Josh Hamrick said, we know you want more control over your loadouts. You can expect weapon slot changes in the future of Destiny 2. We are actively working on a new system right now, and we will have more to show and tell this summer. And I was like, what?
So the speculation, how they were talking about a huge like drop later in the year. do you think that the whole switch up, the whole like redoing or whatever they're doing,
there's got to be.
That's got to be it, right? Like,
there's got to be.
Like fall, I think.
Yeah, whatever. Not maybe not season 3, but whatever the fall expansion. Basically, you know, the Taken Queen, whatever that's gonna be. It's going to change things up drastically. You know, for Destiny 1, we had an infusion system change. I feel like was the biggest thing, like the way light worked. And the whole game changed in that aspect. And in this, I think this time around, we're going to see a whole weapon system change is going to be the big thing. Yeah, sure, there will be other things, economy changes and stuff like that too. But I feel like that's when we'll expect like some weapon system change stuff. And I have some theories about some other stuff in the 12 that have to do with this. But I don't mind parts about this system. I think we've talked about it at length before on this podcast, but primary and energy, kinetic and energy, like I like having those two to swap between, but I definitely miss having sniper rifle ammo, you know, spawning with that.
You don't use a sniper rifle.
I use a sniper so much this week, Hove. Let me tell you, that new strike sniper is beautiful.
You only used it so that you could talk about it on the podcast.
No, I am really terrible at it. I want to be better again. I keep aiming at people's feet and their chest. I'm so used to a fusion rifle. But what do y'all think about the slot system stuff? What do y'all have any theories?
I mean, I think it's going to be a welcome. Well, hopefully, it's a welcome change. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm not even going to start to venture to guess what they're going to do because it's obviously they're working on something new. So it's not going to be. They're not going to revert back to what it was. It's going to be some sort of new. You know, it could be something small. It could be, you know, we don't know. I don't even want to bother speculating because I would just be making shit up.
I want to speculate. You think the guys getting invited to Bungie are going to try like a beta build of it?
That's what I was going to say.
I wonder if they're the lucky bastards that get to get a little taste of what's to come.
The only thing about that is I would be surprised that they'd have it ready so soon to even. But the thing that makes me think that it is that one of the things that he says about it in the TWAB later on is we are making changes and we wanted input before these changes were locked into place. Basically, like, we're doing this huge change. We want to make sure that it's going to, you know, content creators think this is a good idea from every aspect of Destiny, because they've invited people to the. If people don't know what we're talking about, a bunch of players just announced on Twitter that they got invited to something they're calling the Destiny, I guess, Community Summit.
Community Summit.
Yeah. And so basically they're going to be able to record content, but they're also there to give input as far as some new test build stuff. And we have no idea what it is yet.
Is this where I complain about not being invited?
It's where some people complained about not being invited.
No, something like that, I would agree with you. I don't think it's going to be ready yet, but I could see it being, because they said this is going to be, it's not just going to be like, you know, like a PTR, like everyone plays it and then there's like a survey. Like they said it's going to be much smaller, much more intimate. I wouldn't be surprised if they, you know, maybe went to like, I don't know, like a seminar, you know, like they talk to them like, hey, here's the things we're looking at doing. They may not have a build ready for them to mess around with something as big as completely overhauling the weapon slots, but they may give them some of the ideas or thought. You know what I mean? Like just in words.
Yes. Maybe, yeah. Maybe have everyone like in a room. They have on big screen, you know, this is what we're planning. They might, I don't know, they might even have a simplistic, like maybe like pre-alpha build that can just like, nothing really smooth at all. Just like weapon, you know, try out maybe just like 2 weapons each. You know, this is how what we're planning on doing. Do you think this is good? You know, maybe have like one map and all these players just like duke it out and like, would it be good? I don't know. Speculation.
Right. I think I have a really good idea. I think that we should just, when is it? When's this community summit thing?
It's soon. Isn't it like mid-April? Am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
I'm not sure, actually.
Well, we're going to find out. And I think that we should just go out there. And we'll just show up like, listen, yeah, I know we weren't invited. But 1, we're already here. 2, what's 3 more people? And 3, like, we know some people. Like, just, they're in there. Just tell them we said hi and, like, we'll come in. It's fine. You need our help. I'm going to go. You want to go?
Just appear.
Yeah, let's just show up.
Just like, hey, we love your game. I know a lot of those people back there. I see.
Yeah. Like, oh, I would say, isn't Hovey going? Yeah.
Yeah, Hovey's going, MTash is going, TV's going.
Yeah. So pretty much like our whole clan, but us.
Just making a hangout of it.
So
I am.
Are you guys in?
No,
let me slide into Tux's DMs real
quick.
I do love that the players, that we're invited are a wide variety of players. I know we're getting off the Q&A thing right now, but I don't care. The players are like super wide range of players, like from the casual. I'm using that word again, and I just retweeted somebody talking about how casual, has so many different meanings right now. But it has so many different, like whether you like PvE, whether you like PvP, whether you play a whole lot or a little bit. They were like, we invited, all these different kinds of people.
And a high school principal.
Yeah, which, yeah.
You know who that is,
and
right?
So, yes, of course. But so a lot of Reso people, basically. But I just love that about it. And I think it speaks to, if they are going to talk about the weapon slot system to these people, even if they're just starting it or before they lock it in place, like we're actually going to make these changes, getting feedback from every part of the community. And I don't know, I just think it's really well done, the way all these people were selected and what they're talking about, and just how open and transparent they have been with all of these questions here.
The one thing I do want to point out, and this isn't to argue the point that they've been open and transparent more so than they have been, but like, these weren't like live questions. Like they were cherry picked.
Yeah, they were picked from Twitter, and they actually show that in the TWAB. You can click on the questions, and it shows the Twitter like the Twitter question where it came from online.
Like the one that really stuck out to me was the one about like what, as the developers, like which of these changes do you look forward to the most? And Tocom answers about seasonal Crucible ranks. It's like it's just like. A couple weeks ago, we talked. He had that tweet where he specifically, when they showed the roadmap, was talking about how that was he was the most excited about. It seemed like almost like they were like, "Oh, that seems like a good topic. Let's find someone who asks that question." Do you know what I mean? And that's fine.
Yeah.
This isn't like a total they were on the hot seat type of thing. I don't want to give them that much credit. I don't want to take any away, but this was on their terms.
I also don't want to put them in the hot seat in front of that live Twitch audience, because from what I heard, it was very brutal and like you could imagine, but I did want to, that reminded me of what you said. The next question was like, whenever you're doing an update, can you give us some insight into like, why it takes so long for us to get certain things? And is there certain, is there certain things that you give more priority to, and that determines when you release an update? And Josh gave a response, but my favorite is Kevin. Just his first sentence is, "It's all priority." Like Josh's response is, it's just complicated. Basically, that you have so many people and you have to do so much. Am I reading the right question? I think I am. Pretty but I just much. Like that. Kevin was like, yeah, it's all priority. It's all like, there's nothing that isn't important that we send out. And basically anything you change could mess up anything, which I get. And we've talked about here before.
Pretty much it's what any reasonable, logical person already knew.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm going to skip a few here. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This TWAB, it was just... There is a lot, like, I get you have to skip stuff. It was just, like, so voluptuous.
Ding! Let's see. This one doesn't really have... I'm just trying to skip some of the questions that aren't, like, don't give it a lot of info. There's one here, another one that does. A question was asked, are there any set plans to introduce new elements, classes, subclasses, or weapon types to the game in the near future? And Josh Hamrick responded, yes, to some of these. From my desk right now, I can look around and see new hotness on several people's screens. We'll be showing off a lot of this stuff in the months to come. And I know, he might not be referring to classes, subclasses, new elements, and he might just be referring to only weapon types. But to me, that speaks to multiple of those things. So, and we all kind of expected it.
Either way, new weapon types are cool.
Yeah, All
yeah, definitely.
Cool. Any of that. I'll take any of it. Another one.
Something that stands out.
Sorry, man. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying, even if it's like some flashy looking armor or something, just bring it all. Really, I don't mind.
Bring it.
Yeah,
I want there to be a lot of armor choices
and like fireworks.
Yeah, like just flashy. Like, oh, can you see that big? I really hate your. I'm supposed to use some Star Spangled
phrase to say.
Star Spangled
You gave him a phrase.
I
was going to.
Oh my gosh!
I can't say.
For those who don't know,
that was rough.
For those who don't know why there are random words or phrases being thrown in every once in a while, we're playing word insertion,
conversation penetration.
Either one, we're playing one of those games, and we're trying to sneak in some words here. It's not smooth.
Basically, I send a random assortment of words to everybody else on the show, and they have to say them somewhere. And I walked Mana right into that one.
Yeah, but it is still rough.
Instead, you started singing it.
But yeah, what am I supposed to say? Just say Star Spangled Banner?
Yeah, there's fireworks going off. People are singing the Star Spangled Banner.
It wouldn't have been a smooth transition. That's like a cheese. You're cheating it.
I'm trying. Lego's still gotta go.
The phrases are rough that he gives me, guys.
No one dinged when Lego said sploosh earlier.
I know.
I looked. I was just like, did he just use that word?
I got some funny look.
Oh, your shirt says Death Star. That's where Mana came up with it.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I actually didn't know that.
You're full of shit. There's no way in hell.
I did not notice.
Subconsciously,
it was subliminal.
Yeah.
It was subliminal.
Maybe?
He probably.
I swear to God, I did not notice his shirt saying Death Star.
There was one of these questions that had a negative thing for me in it, and that was the question of how did the Crucible team decide on random game modes instead of letting players choose which mode they wanted to play like we had in D1. And basically they said they wanted, like, it was for matchmaking times and connection quality. And they're trying to split it up into high intensity and low intensity. And that, in May, private matches is coming and you can get together what kind of games you want to play then. And I don't know, that just rubs me the wrong way. It's like, I understand wanting to improve matchmaking times and connection quality, but I feel like going to 4x4 instead of 6v6 kind of does that as it is. And I don't know. Like, I would rather them just take away like certain game types, like not have so many instead of continually getting supremacy over and over again when I just want to play quick play. I don't know. Like, I still don't know if that trade-off is worth it. And so I just still hate that. Like, I know they're trying to do the best that they can. I just really want permanent playlists for what I actually want to play instead of just rolling the dice like the rest of everything you do in Destiny.
Pretty much. Yeah, I get what you mean. It's really annoying, especially if you get it a few times in a row too, and you're just like, I don't want to play that game type anymore. Like, let me just do something different. It gets a little annoying. I wish that they would somehow implement another like big team battle, big maps. I miss the big maps. I miss vehicle play. I thought it was so much fun. What little we had back in D1. We didn't really have a lot towards the end.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Nobody? Are you guys really that young? Lego, you're like 40.
I know the song, but okay. I'm trying to figure out what it's in reference to.
I don't know, man. I said I wish something, and I just pictured Skilo.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were trying to insert a
I thought you were trying to insert. Yes, man. I was trying to insert.
I thought there was some insertion happening. I'm just like, no, okay. Disappointed.
Speaking of insertion.
Yeah.
Me, Mana, Wenny, and Wilson got all our Guardian Con stuff booked up this week.
Uh-huh. What does this have to do with insertion? I don't know where this is going.
We're going to insert ourselves into Tampa.
Yeah. Forcefully.
Oh.
We got
in a large.
It's no longer called the Reso House this year. It is called the Thick House. Of course.
Of course, obviously.
Maybe this is why I'm not going.
We got our car and our room and our plane tickets all booked. It's happening.
We're prepared. It's happening. It's official.
Congratulations. I am bummed that I'm not going to be there and see you guys.
Lego.
I know. Okay, I'm going to get through the last two of these Q&As real quick before Hove throws anything else my way. That's pretty much the last one was the only negative thing I think here for me personally. But the next two questions, one is, are you looking back to D1 for inspiration? What are you basically trying, or are you trying to find a new way forward? And Josh gives an answer that I really like, and he says ultimately the goal is just to make Destiny 2 the best Destiny we've ever made. Like, he doesn't necessarily, I don't know, I just like the way that one sentence is phrased. The rest of it is talking about how neither game is perfect, but of course they use all data in making Destiny 2. And so I think that's a smart answer. But like Hove said, it is also kind of like any person can figure out that of course they're looking at all the data. Of course, some of these are kind of just straightforward answers. Still like the way it's said though.
That one was very much I feel like that one was geared to be almost like a marketing type of thing. In the way that like Marcus and I were talking in my Discord earlier, and this isn't to like throw him under the bus or anything, but he was mentioning how they explained all the changes coming to Iron Banner 6v6. Oh, it's going to be 6v6, and now up to 3 players make the zone go faster, and zones don't start capped, and all those changes. And he was like, it makes me mad that they don't just say, hey, we're going back to D1 control. And my point was for 2 reasons. One, they're not going to say that because like I said, one, that isn't the reason the changes are being made. It's not because control wasn't working in D2. It's because, like we talked about a while ago, like with 4 people, you don't have as many people that you need to have, and like 3 people on the objective, 3 people fighting. You just need 3 people fighting, 1 on the objective. Do you know what I mean? Like the number of people changed it.
Yeah.
But also, I think the biggest point is from, like I said, like a public relations standpoint. You're not gonna say, hey, we're going back to what we did before, because this is like, even if you don't say that it's because this isn't working, the connotation is, hey, we're going back to what we used to do instead of what we're doing now. The connotation is because what you're doing now isn't working. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a negative public opinion thing. Even though they are going back to it, they're saying, hey, we're going to do this now, and we're going to do this now, and we're going to do this now. You don't even reference Destiny 1. You're a game company trying to market a sequel that's a standalone game. You're not going to, no matter what, you're not going to say, yeah, we're going to do what we did in our last game. So because then that's not a selling point of this game. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I don't really think of it as like a negative thing. Like, I'm not like upset at them for saying it that way, because it is true what you said. Like, they did it differently in D2 because there was 4v4, and now that they're bringing back a 6v6, which was a thing from Destiny 1, they're making it back that way. It's not like they're directly, like, I don't even make the connection of like, oh, like in D1. Like, I just think of it as like, oh, they have to change it, like, and make it like, I read it as the wording that they put. I don't necessarily wouldn't read it as like going back, even though that's what it is. You could say it either way.
Right now,
just a heads up, your mic.
I'm Snap. Your Crackle. He's Pop.
Mid conversation, you went from okay to crackly. That's weird. What does that? It's so strange.
Yeah, it's Hangouts because his regular recording is totally fine.
So strange.
The other thing, not just from that perception, but just as any voice on the internet, like we know how the internet is. If you say, hey, we're going back to what we used to do, again, the connotation is what we're doing now is screwed up and we were stupid for changing and we should go back. Even though it was more because they went from 6s to 4s. Like, that's what forced all those changes. So even as a random voice on the internet, you say something that has any sort of connotation, like the other day. This is one that Sir Demetrius tweeted, and this isn't anything bad. He tweeted something about how he didn't get how people who stream video games for a living can be
I saw
bad
that one
at the game they stream. And he even said like, oh, like people are going to take this the wrong way. And everyone started attacking him saying you don't have to be good to be popular. You can be entertaining. And he was saying, no. My point wasn't how can they be popular and be bad. It was how can you play a game so much, whether it's for money or on stream, and not get better at it. And I mean, I'm not going to argue that point, but like people just had this totally different perception of the question he was asking. He wasn't being inflammatory or shitting on anyone who isn't good at a game. He was just asking like how you can do something over and over and over again and not improve. Which is, I mean, valid. There are reasons for it, but I mean, it's a valid question. And people took it completely not the way he meant it at all.
To be fair, if you didn't read his like responses to his own tweet, you know, you could take it wrong, honestly.
Right, and that's my point. You know what I mean? But especially on the internet.
Responded like to clear it up, to not make it sound like a dick question.
So that's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
I got what you're saying.
I feel you.
It's the internet, man.
Yeah, I think
it's the internet.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why I think Bungie always has to be careful in what they say. You know. We got one last question here, and that's why can't the mobility stat increase sprint speed? I'm a hunter. I need to ninja. And basically, he says they didn't change running speed from D1. They changed everything else, and they basically brought a lot of the things that they changed back to where it was in D1, which they actually said back to D1 here. But they said that they pushed some of it even further, which is interesting.
One of the things, didn't they say something was actually faster than it was in D1?
Yeah.
Like from the get-go?
Yeah, that's no, he said mobility value over 5 after 1.1.4 is faster than max mobility base speed values in D1.
Okay.
That everything else was the same as D1 or slower initially. And now it's all the same or faster, basically. So yeah, that is interesting. That we still feel slow sometimes. Like I still feel slow sometimes when I'm running. What is it? Oh, why are you looking at me this way?
I'm not. I was looking at chat.
Okay, so it is interesting that I still feel slower sometimes whenever I'm not. Whenever I'm running at the same speed that I was in D1. Like that's a weird disconnect to me. Why do you think it feels?
Well, it's not running.
Like different. It's
just walking.
No, running. Like didn't he say running?
Mobility only affects walking speed.
No, I know, and he said that one of the reasons the changes was so different was because that's what was slowed down from D1, but that actually running speed wasn't changed, and it is the same as it was in D1. Am I reading? Did I make that up? Did I not read that?
Maybe we were just talking about two different parts of that.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Second sentence. Sprint speeds weren't changed for D2, and therefore it wasn't a crazy high priority to hit those. So, I from D1 is how I take that.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I feel slower. You know.
Oh, you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. It's solely on the jumps. That's why we feel slower. Because every jump, hunters to the smallest degree, but Bones of AO made up for that, had top speed boosting attributes to it, whereas they took those away. And they even mentioned later in there, I think, something about air acceleration or air speed.
Yes. And how air acceleration is back to its D1 values.
So that's
now.
what made us feel slower. Your actual sprint was the same, but whoever in D1 just sprinted.
I know, right? Yeah.
You never just sprinted.
I know Titans never touched the ground.
No.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it wasn't even for like strategic purposes. It's like some combination of just habit, like nervous habit, and B just like to go a little bit faster. Like just because you can.
Just a little bit of speed boost. Because like for the longest time I was addicted to the Bones of AO. I didn't use anything else on my hunter just because it felt just one more jump felt that much better to me.
Well,
for some
and you
reason.
know what else? I mean, Bones of AO, it's funny because now, like, as much as people want them back, and I agree, because I liked having the, like, being able to use the controlled jump but get the third one.
They're
not nearly as useful. They wouldn't be nearly as useful right now because the very best loadout that I ever used in D1 was a hunter with Bones of AO and a good hand cannon with Icarus. Because you were just up in the air, just popping off shots at people. Yeah. And now what am I going to do? Hop around in the air for 3 jumps until someone finds me and then kills me because I can't hit them with anything?
True.
Yeah, that is true. That's interesting to think about. And it's interesting too to me that people not that I disagree that hunters shouldn't move fast or that Titans and Warlocks did get a bigger buff than hunters did in a lot of ways, but Arcstrider the neutral game feels so strong for Arcstrider right now that it was by far the best class that I played in Rumble whenever I was just going for one-on-one kills or stealing kills, one or the other. And I just felt like nothing could come close to it. And so they're really good in a lot of other ways. But I think people have that fantasy that they want to reach with hunters that they're not able to right now. And maybe that is the disconnect.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like, do hunters have their like specific, unique to them type of like play style really now? I mean, much.
in air was the
right, but that's what I mean. It was kind of like, your Titan was really fast and agile, and even though these were backwards, your Warlock was kind of like tanky and good up close because of like the melee and all that stuff. And then you
get out, heal really quickly.
Yeah, and hunters were very much like a nuisance, like jump around, shoot you, jump up some more, pop around a corner, airborne. Nuisance. Yeah, and now they don't really have an identity. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. See,
as a whole,
I think they are. No, well, I'm just saying, like, as a whole, to me, like, I don't know how Golden Gun fits in there because they have like the swarm grenade that's kind of like annoying and tracking, but Arcstrider and Night Stalker for sure. Like Arcstriders have the skip grenades and can be sneaky and annoying with that, and Night Stalker has smoke that literally shows up on your radar. And
the Night Stalker is definitely still a nuisance.
See, that's still not kind of like. I agree with you, but that's kind of more subclass based, whereas like the things I mentioned were kind of like class based across the board.
As a whole,
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like no matter what type of subclass you were playing, you flew around the map. You were real fast. You got up high. You could jump up high. You could skate around real fast. Warlocks had their quick recovery. Powerful melees, and hunters were just kind of no matter what subclass you were playing, no matter what grenades you were using, what super you were using, just as far as like movement ability. Actually, I guess it really comes down to like movement ability. Hunters jumped around, were in the air, pelting you from the air, maybe duck behind a corner, pop out, shoot you a couple times. And now they just don't have their own identity to me as much.
Their mid-air maneuverability feels like it's kind of subpar now.
Yeah, especially since they're the ones who didn't get a movement up, got no sort of real jump buff this time. So now their jump still isn't as good as it was. Inner accuracy is still bad. Even though they said they would look at it.
I feel like their strafe jumps or whatever they're called need to have a bit more direction every time you jump in that direction. So if you're holding right, you actually go a bit more right, and then if you change, you can actually go back like a little bit further.
Right, and I feel that was the thing that Bones of AO gave you, because the controlled jump was that powerful in a certain direction, but you only got one, so it wasn't. You couldn't change direction with it. You were just gonna propel yourself the direction you were going, whereas Bones gave you the option to jump left and then jump right. Right now, the only triple jump we have is just a basic, mostly vertical. So as you're running, you just kind of go up in the air.
Yeah. Which as a fusion rifle player is really annoying still, because I can never hit hunters, right, that have the double jump on or triple jump or whatever. Because they'll jump and then they jump again in the air, and I think for sure, okay, they're coming down, and I let the charge go, and the bolts go straight underneath them, and they jump again, and I'm like, no,
you never expected the third jump.
But that was their thing. That's what they could do, and now they can't.
And it's still there,
not as much.
Not
just
as much.
Because
you're right.
Just because you're bad with fusion rifles. Just kidding.
I used to use that a lot in Trials of Osiris in D1. Where I would juke the crap out of people. I'd just jump over here, over there, and then I jump back. When you go back and forth, once you do it after the first time, it's not nearly as much as the initial jump, but still, you're doing it another time, which no one.
Yeah.
I feel like eventually, the players would get, but even me, it's just you would not expect another jump.
And you had like a counter punch in there because, like I said, especially if you were using a hand cannon with Icarus, you were able to like do some damage and float around up there and like shoot between each of those jumps and stuff. And I don't know, it's just not there. And I'm sure not everybody played like that. That's a play style, but that was by far like my favorite thing. Like, even though I played a lot more Warlock near the end of D2 or D1, I think Hunter, Bones, Icarus hand cannon was like my go-to.
So if they increased in-air accuracy, do you feel like that would give a buff overall to Hunters over anyone else right now as it stands, or not really? They need to do something specifically for Hunters, you feel like, to let them feel a little love?
I mean, it would definitely help Hunters because they do still have more of the vertical game, I feel like, than the other two.
I feel like Hunters are always depicted also holding hand cannons. Have you seen that in any of their art or everything? They always have hand cannons out. I feel like they should just get not even like a big buff, just something just a little noticeable to give them something like, okay.
Because, one of the arguments for why in-air accuracy being bad is stupid is because we have all this space magic and we're these badass warriors, but the second we jump, we can't shoot. Even more so, forget about that, but like, you're not only a super badass space magic warrior, you're also supposed to be this nimble, jumping around, rolling around, dodgy, mysterious hunter, and you can't do anything but stand still and shoot. Like, not only do you have space magic and you're a badass warrior, but your whole MO is like jumping around and rolling around and what? Like,
yeah. I get what you mean. I did feel like I don't know. I go back and forth because like all my points specifically go to Arcstrider and not the other ones because like the dodging that makes you harder to hit. Like I almost feel like that should be an inherent inherent thing for all the subclasses is their dodge. You're that much harder to hit as an Arcstrider as if you go to that one subtree. You know what I mean? I don't know. Just to make more of that fantasy come alive for all of them.
I think I would also like to see their dodge in general buffed a little bit. The class ability one, because right now it almost just becomes a invisible button or reload button. The actual dodge doesn't really like help you at all. Like, if someone's shooting at you,
no, it really doesn't.
Dodge, I still die in the middle of the dodge. Like it's
I feel like it should give you a big speed boost away, whatever direction you're going.
Because right now the only purpose for dodging is to whichever sub thing you have it on. Do you need to reload? Cool. Do you need to go invisible? Cool. But like the actual dodge, I feel like doesn't really help.
You know what they could do?
Reload is literally like golden gun and all that. I only, if I'm in a bad situation, kill a guy, there's a guy coming up, just spin around, reload real quick. I never use it for any like maneuverability at all.
Do you know what they could do? They could take the dodge speed of when you're an Arcstrider and you dodge, because dodging is just as fast as running in your super with Arcstrider, which is now the speed of like Titans running. And so take that speed and use that as the dodge speed for all hunters. And that would be, I feel like that would do a lot because you'd move as fast as a super would be moving. I don't know.
Even if it wasn't the speed, like you move like 2 steps. If they just made it like maybe extended a meter or half a meter or whatever so that you dodge a little bit
speed
further.
And length, everything. Yeah.
And as far as like the jumps and everything, we would need inner accuracy for, the identity issue I was talking about. But I believe it's Miss 5000 Watts that has been a really big proponent of saying like they should just have like built-in Bones of AO for that like speed boost. Like that would be their focused burst or strafe glide or whatever the other two use.
Just a triple jump would be just like the effects of Bones of AO maybe. Kinda. Or maybe that would actually take away from just the simple strafe jump, huh? I guess no one would ever use that then. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, you know.
I mean, you could even keep both of them triple jumps, but one has more height.
One more vertical.
One more control.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That would probably be better for maybe like raids or maybe some sort of future raid implement,
You listening, Bungie?
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about.
If you're not listening, we'll tell you when we crash your community summit. Because we're coming.
Expect us.
So there is
a mana gaper is coming for you.
What? there is two other things.
It's about to get big.
On this from that other than the Bungie Community Summit, which we already talked about quite a bit, so I don't know how much we'll go into that. But the two things are they talked about the 1.4 weekly playlist update with like the Rumble and Mayhem this week, and then Iron Banner next week. And they talked about Rumble specifically. They heard our complaints basically, and that Rumble is changing to 6 now, which I really thought they would fix spawns instead of changing to 6. And we already talked about this a lot earlier. Yeah, I want them both as well. And in a way, we're getting both in private matches.
No. I'm saying, I mean, they said they're adjusting spawns. That's they're doing both. Yes. Yeah. Whereas I would have liked
they're adjusting
to see them try one or the other.
Yeah, me too. That's what I would have kind of liked, is to have just seen them fix the spawns on 8 is what I would have liked to have seen. But I know I'm pretty much in the minority with that. I feel like the rest of the community just as a huge voice just ramrod their opinions in there, and that's what we're doing now.
Ding!
He also said Iron Banner is coming back. I don't think we need to talk about Rumble anymore. We talked about it earlier. And they showed a little preview for Iron Banner, and all those weapons look the same to me. I don't feel like there's anything new, which is kind of a bummer. I still don't have that Suros styled Iron Banner pulse, which those Suros pulses are really good right now. So I really want to get that. But other than that, I'm just excited to try 6v6, and we'll just have to see what it's like when it rolls around. You know, we already talked about the changes to that too, with the flag capture and everything, so I don't really feel like we need to go into it. The last thing is they had some fixing of a few things. There's going to be like a small patch that comes out this next Tuesday, and they're fixing the tower and raid black screens that people keep getting, which is great because I saw TV have that in his stream today. I think he was trying to load in and it was just a black screen. And I know it's just boring for viewers whenever you're just trying to go into the tower and you just get a black screen and you're sitting there for several minutes at a time, just like, I want to play. Sorry, guys.
Will I ever get to the tower? You can hear like NPCs and stuff. You're just like, okay.
I'm in. I know I am.
I swear I'm here.
I'm trying to think if there is anything before we move on to ad-libs. Ad-libs? I don't know, something. Whatever we do next. There was something that Deej said. I just wanted to point out, you know, as they talked about the Bungie Community Summit, all these people they invited, I just really like the way, I know it's probably somewhat marketing stuff, but just the way that Deej talks about everything here. And I already talked about most of it with like the variety of people they invited, but also just like inviting them into making these decisions is just, you know, this has never happened before. Like they've had them come in to like see new content and record it as like marketing stuff specifically, and that's it. But this is like, people are blowing up on Twitter right now because they're like, this is the right move for Bungie to be taking community input directly from the people we trust most, you know, the big names in the community who do all this kind of content. I just think it's all really well worded, and I'm excited for it to go down. And I think it was soon. It doesn't have the date in the TWAB, but I'm pretty sure I saw someone on Twitter say it was the middle of April, like 15th or 16th, something like that.
Neat.
One of y'all can let me know if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the TWAB. I did like the movie of the week videos too, which a lot of times it's easy to skip over those ones, and I haven't even watched one of them yet, but someone soloed the Nightfall and got 60,000 points by themselves and recorded it, and that's insane, knowing how difficult it was myself. You know what
I want to give a shout out to? I want to give a shout out to Wilson.
Yes.
Who, you know, got the Nightfall emblem, which shows what your high score, right?
Uh-huh.
And his Nightfall emblem shows a 0.
Wait,
what?
Oh, is it because it's the next week?
No, it's because he soloed it, so it took him like forever, and his score decayed and decayed and decayed, so he finished the Nightfall with a 0, got the emblem, so his emblem has 0 on it.
That's awesome. Yeah. It did change though, because when I ran it with him, he got it up way more than that, and it changes based off of how far you go. But that is hilarious.
I hope we just showed 0.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Because I would call that bragging rights, honestly. Oh, absolutely. It's like, look at what I got. Yeah. Look at what the score is.
Absolutely.
Never touch that character on that Nightfall again.
He deserved the strike, the strike loot just for that alone, regardless of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's it this week, guys. That's all I got.
I do have one thing that's sort of a segue, kind of, but it's Destiny related at first. So we're assuming, right, that the Taken Queen-esque expansion will be like the first or second Tuesday of September, right? As usual.
Assuming it'll be around September. I don't know.
I mean, D1,
specific.
Taken King, Rise of Iron, and D2 were all like September 7th through the 15th, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I would expect.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to dedicate much time to it when it launches. I don't no matter how good it is. I don't know if you saw yesterday.
Okay, what's going on in September?
The Spider-Man game for PS4 is being released September 7th. And it looks sick.
People are so hyped for that right now.
Have you guys played? Have you guys played the old PS2 Spider-Man 2?
No, I didn't.
I played one of the old ones. You didn't?
If it's anything like Spider-Man 2 and beyond, it's going to be so good. That game was incredibly amazing back then for the tech and what it was on PS2 and all that. It was literally open world New York. They had not only the movie, the movie enemies and everything, but just more comic book everything. And they just littered collectibles, quests, everything. You can go in and out of certain buildings and stuff. It was good. If they took inspiration off of that game and just made it better for like this Spider-Man, I'm pumped. I'm actually really excited.
I'm excited that Insomniac is who's making it, and I really like some Insomniac stuff. So,
what's their games?
They made the Resistance games, didn't they, for PS3?
I never actually played those games.
That was probably prior to Destiny, the shooter that I played the most. Resistance Fall of Man was fantastic for the time. It was great. The only thing that worries me, it's one of those things that, like, there's so many, if you watch the trailer, there's so many things that you can do, like, that they show him doing. It's gotta partially be, like, almost, like, pre-scripted. Like, there's so many, like, diving over this, hitting this truck, stopping, like, you can't just walk up and, like, dive in front of any car, I feel like. And, like, it shows a truck, he stops in front of it, like, picks up the truck as it stops. Do you know what I mean? Like, stops a big truck. I feel like there's just so many things that they show him do that there's no way there's controls for all of those.
I feel like in the trailer, they had maybe, like, in certain missions that happened. Like, when you do something, that happens.
Yeah.
But I also feel like when it was chasing that chopper, and you actually see the little crosshairs of where you could possibly, like, shoot your web at. Like,
but I feel still, like they're kind of predetermined, certain things, right?
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of it is also, maybe they made it just super stylized, everything. How Spider-Man, you know, how in the movies and everything, how it's super flashy, he does all these super, like, spins and all that.
There's got to be some sort of middle ground. Like, I want to be free to, like, kind of swing around. But if you think about it, if it was completely, like, you can shoot your web anywhere and swing, don't tell me that all of us wouldn't just be, like, swinging and then, like, swing directly into a building. Like, you wouldn't be able to aim perfectly.
It was like, in the PS2, they had a really good system where whatever you shot at, it was like almost perfect. You kept momentum wherever you went. If you hit a building, if you hit it at a nice slant, you would just do a wall run while holding on. Like, if you hit a pole, you can literally keep on spinning until you wrapped around the pole, and then your guy would just stick on it. Like, it was amazing what they did in Spider-Man 2. Like, this is way back in PS2. Right. You know, it was incredible. I'm just hoping they built off of that and just made it better and better. Because that's why I'm looking back on. It's probably not fair looking back on that and hoping that it's similar. This might be just a completely different thing, new mechanics, but I'm hoping it's something similar because it works so well.
Yeah, if they do anything like the way it was before, because I didn't play it that much, but I remember friends who had it, because I never had a PlayStation until I guess Destiny came out. And so I went over to friend's house and played it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's like I don't know, like I'm not good at these third person games, and it was like I was just flying through town seamlessly, and I had no idea what I was doing, but it worked perfectly, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to get this thing exactly. It just did what I wanted it to do somehow every time. And I don't know how they make it flow so seamlessly, but it was awesome.
I have no idea how they did it, but it was like, that's why I keep on saying back in that time period, it worked so incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also,
good call, Hove, especially tying into our TWAM,
They screened 30 minutes of Infinity War for people.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Reviews are really good. They sent out a letter, the Russo brothers, to people that were going.
Like, I did. We need to talk about that.
Like, don't tell anybody. Like, don't ruin it. But the one thing I did see, that isn't a spoiler or anything, it was just a review, that it was really good, and it because as we've kind of seen from trailers, like they're kind of grouped up in separate places. Like you kind of have Thor with the Guardians and so on and so forth. That each different group has a very different like theme and almost like coloring to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Depending on which group
that's
you're
cool.
with, it has like very different tone like to each group. So that's cool.
That is cool. Yeah, because each of those movies, you want them to keep those characters, you want them to keep their unique individuality, like the places they come from and the kind of mood. Because some of these movies are funny and some of them are serious and some of them are somewhere in between. And if they kind of keep each of the themes with those groups of people, that'd be awesome, I think.
Yeah, and I think it is cool that they the one thing that seems obvious, but I feel like it doesn't happen all that often. I know that, the MCU on its own is kind of like unprecedented in the way they've done it. But one thing you don't seem to see very often when characters carry over from one movie to another is they kind of consulted. Like James Gunn had a say in like, hey, are the Guardians kind of saying the right things and acting the way that they would in your movie? Ryan Coogler, like, is this something Black Panther would do? So that they kind of, it wasn't like a different character in every movie.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so excited for it. I want to watch it right now. We may just a heads up, guys. We may not have a podcast that week. Like we've done a podcast every single week for like the last year and a half, but that day might be the day that we don't do a podcast, just because we're all gonna want to go see it Thursday night. I'm sure if we don't have tickets already.
Well, maybe
we'll see what happens.
I'll just plan that week as one where we do a Wednesday and we get someone from some other podcast that records on Thursdays to come on.
Maybe
so.
How
smart I am?
God. Well, do we have anything else this week, Hove?
Just a Mad Lib.
Okay, I wasn't sure, if you had one prepared or anything.
Know who you're talking to?
I do. You're always prepared. What am I talking about?
Way before. This is like his thing, he's
the only thing I look forward to in my life.
Yeah,
Mad Libs after Reso.
His whole week, not the
club, and then
not playing with his friends.
PUBG afterward.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah. So
we don't have to
this time I went to the science fiction category, and the name of this Mad Lib is The Princess.
Oh wow!
We're gonna start with this one isn't as long as some of the other ones. There's only about 12 or so. So
I think it's appropriate. Yeah. Considering the last one was like 3.
Well, there were 6 of us, so I didn't want to have like.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, mana or Lego adjective.
Harry.
Mana noun.
Let's see. I don't know. Since we're talking about Spider-Man, New York.
Ooh. Okay. Doesn't fit.
Really, that would be like a place.
But something from New York. How about that, Mana?
Empire State Building.
I guess.
A pizza shop.
How about just pizza?
Gunga's house.
All of Mana's places all of Mana's nouns have been places. New York, pizza shop.
Indonesia.
Building?
What?
A building?
Moving on. We got pizza shop. Noun. I'm going with marshmallow. Lego, verb.
Breaking.
Break.
Or break.
Mana, adjective.
Thick.
CK or CC?
CC,
Okay.
always CC.
Me, noun. Jockstrap. Lego.
Were you just looking on your wall?
No, I just kind of like looking. Like,
wow.
Adjective. Lego.
I'm trying to go with the Spider-Man theme here.
Sticky.
But I can't. No. I was thinking the web sort of thing, but flexible. How about durable?
Mana, number.
47.
And our contender with a record of 1 win and 76 losses. Okay.
Add another loss on that. I didn't even get the play through.
All right. Adjective.
Oh my
I was just standing
Adjective
there.
for me. I can't think of a good one. I need a good one. Adjective. Dainty.
Was it
Dainty? Oh, even better. Wait. Stanky. Thank you, Mana. Lego, verb.
You're welcome.
Oh, I get it. So many verbs. Swing.
Mana, noun. Why are you looking around?
Because I see you and I think, how about trash can?
Don't let Hove influence
Lego,
you.
me and you both get verb ending in ing.
Okay. Twisting
and fornicating. Mana, verb.
That was creative.
Verb. Slap.
And the last one is me, an adjective, and it's gonna be. I already used stanky. That was a good one. Rotten.
Ah, I like that.
Smart. All right, so this is called The Princess.
You're a bad princess.
Once upon a hairy time, there was a princess who lived in a pizza shop.
It worked.
That worked.
No, it would have been who lived in a New York.
Okay.
Luckily, we kept on.
She longed for a prince who lived far, far away. So one day she left in order to find the prince and his noble marshmallow. As she was break along a path until she fell into a thick jockstrap. Oh my god. She fell into a thick jockstrap that was durable and about 47 feet tall. She was stuck in there. She was stuck in there for a while. She was having a very stanky time. She started swing so that someone could hear her. Wow, this is terribly written. As the king was getting worried, he sent out some trash can to look for her.
So insulting.
None of them found her, but hours later, the prince found her sleeping. He tried to wake her up, but could not. He pulled her out of the... They missed blanks. It says, but he could not, so he pulled her out of the and put her on his... And there's no words there.
Oh, wow.
They really censored it.
Maybe they censored us. While they were twisting to the princess's castle, the princess awakened. She asked him, "Where am I?" He answered, "I'm fornicating you to my castle to make sure you were okay. And I was also wondering, will you marry me?" "Oh, well, yes," the princess slapped. God, that was terrible. The only good part was when she fell into the 47-foot tall thick jockstrap and was stuck in there for a while having a stanky ass time.
That's a very big jockstrap. Oh my gosh. gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's it for this week, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but
I think we should redo one because that one ended terribly.
I'm okay with that.
If you can find one with not that many blanks, not that many slots, Hove, I'm down for one more.
We got a few more minutes until midnight, so we might as well keep on going.
All I need is one slot.
No, we need
4 insertion.
We're not playing insertion games anymore, Hove.
Oh god.
Comics like it was my jockstrap.
I guess this is kind of an insertion game.
Yeah. We got various forms of word insertion.
Okay, we're gonna do another. Remember last week we did? Oh, this is long as hell. Never mind. I'm gonna get it. Don't you worry.
Hold on.
I think I got it. This is a real short one. It's don't worry, be happy.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Lego adverb.
Adverb. It's basically
No why.
Yeah. Shockingly.
Mana adjective.
Moist.
Verb base form. Flimsy. Lego, another verb base form.
8. Eat?
Eat, I guess. Noun plural.
Yeah. Noun plural. Dumbbells.
Dumbbells? Noun.
I like that.
Condom? Lego, verb base form, and mana noun. That's the end.
Okay.
Condiments? For mine?
Wait, is that condiments or condom mints? Like mint flavored condoms?
No, the first one.
Or condom flavored
burn.
Mints. Burn?
Yeah.
B-U-R-N.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Don't Worry, Be Happy, apparently. Wow, this sucks already. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it shockingly. Don't worry, be moist. In every life we have some trouble, but when you're flimsy, you make it double. Don't worry, be moist. Ain't got no place to eat your dumbbells. Somebody came and took your condom. Don't worry, be moist. The landlord says your rent is late. He may have to burn your condiments. Don't worry, be moist. Look at me, I'm moist.
What was the second part of that again? All right, like go back to the start. Like it almost sounded like Team Rocket from Pokemon.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it shockingly. Don't worry, be moist. In every life, we have some trouble, but when you're flimsy, you make it double.
That's
like Team Rocket. What is
I immediately thought of Team Rocket.
Yes.
Don't worry. Someone came and took your condom. Don't worry, be moist.
Don't worry, be moist.
Well,
that needs to be in my bio on
listen,
Twitter.
Here's like the moral of this song though. If the landlord says your rent is late, all he's gonna do is come into your apartment and burn all your ketchup and mustard and mayonnaise and shit. He's just gonna burn your condiments. You're fine. All right. It's a lot cheaper to replace your condiments than pay your rent. Kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. What if you just come back, like you open up your apartment and just like in the middle of your kitchen, there's just a burn pile of all like your ketchup and stuff. You're like, oh, I forgot.
Damn it.
Immediately, just like
just dawns on you
again. Like I gotta go out and grab some more ketchup now.
Well, this has been Lego, aka Lego Flash. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube at Lego LE Flash. Hove, where can they find you?
Twitter, Twitch, not so much YouTube. HOV76. I streamed like 6 times last week, so I'm back.
Dude, you did. It was awesome.
Come hang
Progress.
out. I've been streaming D2, and I'll tell you what. You know what is a very encouraging sign, and I know this has been talked about ad nauseum elsewhere, but I had, and now granted, having never streamed in a long time, like. When I say double, I'm talking 10 compared to 5. But, like, just from the start, I get probably double the viewers streaming Destiny because people want to watch Destiny. Like, they want it to be fun. Like, they want it to be back. And so that's encouraging.
I feel that way, too. Yeah, no, and it's not just, like us wanting to stream it and play it, but it's, like, I personally, like, in the morning, like, I'm like, oh, I'm like, while I'm eating breakfast, let me see who's on right now. And like, if Mana's on, I'm like, oh, let me just jump in history because I want to watch people enjoying Destiny and playing with their friends and like see what weapons they're using and what's working for them and how they're enjoying the game, what's new, you know. And I don't know, like I feel the same way. I was in TV stream, Mana stream, like all like just whoever's on at the time that I'm on, I'm like, yeah, I'll jump in because I want to see that content too. So it's I agree with you, and
I've actually
like it's
been
cool.
getting more viewers in D2
really?
than I have been with Fortnite, like, or just anything. Like it's actually surprising. It's just like the other night I almost reached just 100 viewers. I haven't reached that in a long time without a raid or anything while streaming D2.
People,
it's honestly
really cool.
Like I think there's a lot of hope being sparked right now for the D2 community.
And to be fair, I mean, part of it is all of us built any viewer base that we do have in Destiny for the most part. But still.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. I like what you said too. Like I feel like hope really is building in the community, like with this patch, and then immediately after Bungie's like, hey, we're inviting all these people to come see new changes. There's like stuff's building up on top of building up of other stuff. And it's been really positive for the community. So yeah, and just y'all streams is proof of that. So that's really cool.
Not my stream. I have like 10 people. It's just that's better than 5.
Still, yeah. Still, it's awesome. Yeah. Well, you can also find us at REZOcast if you want to talk some more Destiny, or if you want to.
I was going to just cut in directly. Like, and don't forget me, the Alpha Asian now taking over. You can catch me at the Manigator on everything, mainly Twitch and Twitter. I stream every single day. Still dodging YouTube, but eventually.
What's YouTube? You don't have YouTube.
That one thing, you know, that actually my chat has been harassing me over to upload sometime. Oh, wow.
Well, they also harass you to stream on time. You haven't done that in 3 years, so.
Whoa. This morning. Actually, I was like 16 minutes late, but still, that's the closest I've been in like a week or so.
It's good.
I'm getting there.
For real though, you guys should check out Mana. His streams have been awesome. It's been awesome watching him in trial. So go check it out. Go check him out on Twitter as well. The Manigator. You should do it. And Team Resolute too. You can check out them on Twitter at Team Resolute. Us as a whole. And we'll be sure to have some new Resolute guests for you soon, and some other cool people coming up soon as well. So we're excited about everything that's to come with Destiny. So until next time, guys. GG.
You forgot something again.
I forgot the thing called blue microphones and headphones that we're all using, and sponsored by it. And thank you guys so much for that. And yeah, we have new exciting things coming up with that soon as well. Man, there's so much new coming on, not only with Destiny, but with this podcast. And we're super excited about it all. So for real this time,
make sure you go to bluemicrophones.com and use REZOcast discount code for 20% off your purchases of all these awesome things. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. We got a discount code working now. So go do that. Things. I know people have been waiting for it, so we're really excited to.
We don't even get anything from it. We're just telling you because it's 20% off some really cool shit.
Yeah, it is some really awesome stuff. So for real this time, until next time, GG.
GG's.
GG?
Moisty.
Oh, gross.
No. It was Mad Libs still.